Hey, this is Meg from The Nurtured Way with my weekly check-in, and today is day 41 of my 40-day initial transformation. So I've completed that first goal with this protocol, and so as promised, I am going to share my physical stats. I've been talking a lot over the last couple weeks about the internal changes that I've felt. But my body's changed too. So I've lost 9.1 pounds, which is not a change from last week, but that's totally fine. I'm so pleased to have dropped some pounds that it feels good. I feel good in my body, and that's the most important part. I guess the most surprising thing to me was about how my shape has changed. So I measured at the beginning bust, hips, waist, chest, calves, thighs, arms, and neck. And over all of those different body parts, over the last almost 6 weeks, I've lost 11.5 inches, and I really feel it in how my clothes fit. But it's a little mind-boggling to me that I could do that in 6 weeks after 6 months of working out 5 days a week with a plan, eating mindfully, working out with this strategy to build muscle, to slim down, and I had essentially no change in 6 months of pretty intense discipline. And so to accomplish this in 6 weeks feels great. I feel like I'm out of my rut, and that my body is in a much happier place now. And so the main difference was the addition of these green superfoods, and I'm just going to keep using them, consuming them. It's part of my diet now, and that, to me, it was the whole point of this cleanse was a reset of my body, to let go of things that didn't serve and to just really fuel like intensive nutrition, fuel my cells, fixed some deficiencies that were contributing to imbalances. And the last thing I want to do at this point is to retoxify my body. It's 6 weeks. It's a long time, and I have no desire to bring back in any of the things that were clearly causing me inflammation. Dairy especially, even though, it's delicious and all, but I've sort of lost my taste for it over the last 6 weeks, and I just know that it is a trigger for me. The same thing with coffee or alcohol. It doesn't fit anymore. And so a lifestyle change is what this has been. And as long as it fits in the budget, I'm going to keep using these superfoods. I may experiment from time to time because I like to try new things. But the basic plan for me is to just continue on and check in periodically with myself. But yeah, it's great. So yeah, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was just building resiliency. And I know people talk about this, but it's so important to do the work of building resiliency in your body, because you are going to be exposed to germs and outside stressors and any number of things in the world. We inhabit the world. Our bodies are fragile to some extent, and so by building resiliency, it allows us to bounce back from exposure to these stressors. And there are some key areas that I've been focusing on and that I encourage my clients to focus on. The first one is sleep. And sleep is so hard, especially for parents of young kids. It's hard when your stress levels are high. It's hard when you struggle with things like anxiety, can contribute to insomnia, along with many other things. But to the best of your ability, when prioritize sleep and good sleep hygiene, and taking the steps to have the best sleep that you can for yourself. It really is a key piece. And now that my kids are 9 and 10 and a half, we're starting to get more consistent sleep, and oh my goodness, what a huge difference it has made. But I do empathize with the challenges related to that piece, even though it is so critical. So it's all about finding what works best in the moment where you are. The other piece is nutrition, my favorite thing to talk about. Trying to fuel your body with as much organic food as possible, grown in good soil. When you don't have a lot of access to that, finding things, even though I live in rural Vermont where I have great access to local foods, in winter it's less, and winter is long. And so it's one of the reasons I've really appreciated these green superfoods is just accessing these pure foods, even though it's the middle of winter, and foods that are extremely nutrient dense to help keep my body running smoothly. And it has been such a key piece, and I didn't even realize, because I think about nutrition all the time. I cook a lot. I'm constantly researching. And so to have an experience like I've just had, where by adding this really nutrient dense, like efficient packets of nutrition to my body, and to see such a shift, even when I had a good diet, it's just reinforced that understanding about how important nutrition is to the resiliency of our bodies, and how even when we think we're getting what we need or approaching it from the best possible way, how there might be room to do better. And so I am so thankful that I was open to that in the end, and that I just continue to feed my body good foods. So the other piece, movement. Movement is really important, and our ability to move varies widely, and so doing what you can, gentle movement, as much gentle movement as possible, from anything from walking to, I have this little trampoline, and just sitting on it and bouncing gently while I do something else, read a book or something. It gets that lymphatic system moving. Stretching, and things like doing laundry in a household, washing the dishes, that's gentle movement. So as much gentle movement as your body allows. And then for those who can tolerate it, incorporating vigorous movement in there as well can really just give you floods of good chemicals in your body that really serve to keep the balance. And then the last piece that I wanted to talk about in terms of building resiliency is mindfulness. And it's not about going off to an ashram and sitting in meditation, though that sounds wonderful. And if you can do that, awesome. But for me, lately, at least over the last year, it's really been about bringing that meditative mindset to everything, that sense of presence, grounding in the present moment. Yesterday I read about hugging meditation, and I thought that was beautiful. And it's so true. I mean, it can be anything from doing the dishes to walking the dogs. Some of my favorite meditations are walking the dogs, playing with your kids. So it doesn't have to be, isolated, alone in silence, though that is extremely wonderful as well. And I do try to incorporate that into my practice as well. But it's more, what's made the biggest difference for me is bringing that that sense of mindfulness to every part of my day, everything that I do. And it really does serve to build that resiliency when when you have a really stressful week, for example, to be able to bounce back from that instead of your body sort of freaking out and, being triggered into dis-ease. So I wanted to share that. It's so important that we see our bodies as our ally, even when they don't feel like it, just bringing that, understanding that we're working in loving partnership and coming to ourselves with that sense of loving partnership, in relationship with ourselves. It's another key piece, because when we're at odds with ourselves, it's very difficult to find any sort of state of equilibrium. So just wanted to share that today. And that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. And the other piece was CBD shipped this week and this past week. So I got that on Friday. It's right here. They come in these awesome little 1 ounce spray bottles, which my family has been using capsules. And so we had, for the couple of us who are using CBD for various things, we'd been dosing in the morning and at night or at night. And for me personally, I've really appreciated being able to split up my dosage using the spray bottle. A serving in this is 6 sprays, so I can even just do 1 spray and then just like as needed. I did try it this past week. On Friday, I had a really busy and stressful week last week, and so by Friday I was pretty frazzled. So since it arrived, I thought I would give it a try, and within a minute, I noticed a shift. I just was suddenly feeling much more grounded, and my energy was much more calm. And so I see it as a great tool. I like to have tools in my toolbox. One thing, if you have not used a CBD product in the past, it can take a little time to build up in your system. But if you have been using CBD, your endocannabinoid system is already awake and used to that. And so you'll notice the effects more quickly. I did also notice that it takes effect more quickly than the capsules. It doesn't have to go through the digestive system when you're using a sublingual spray. So that's been great. The flavor is lovely. It's very mild mint. It is currently back ordered, so I do have a couple extra bottles. I just shipped one of my bottles out today, but if you can't wait until I think the next batch is shipping between the 12th and the 17th, then just hit me up and I'm happy to arrange payment and shipping with you. And finally, I have the samples on hand now. I mailed out a few of those today, but I'm going to be adding a request form to my website. If you would like to try the Appleberry Power Shake or the MVP Kids Chocolate Multivitamin Protein Shake, those are the 2 sample sizes that I have. And if you would like any, you just need to go to thenurturedway.com, and I will try to make it obvious where that request form is. Probably I'll just add something to the Get in Touch page, and you can let me know, and I will get that to you very soon. And yeah, I think that's it for this week. I'm going to continue doing these weekly check-ins. It's practice for me, connecting with all of you, and also, yeah, there's lots to talk about. So I look forward to checking in next week. All right, take care, guys.